Thanks to Synco for sponsoring this video. There's been some filmmaking equipment that Taylor and I found that have really made a big impact to how we work. Autofocus for video, for example, or a production cart to move your stuff around. Wireless headphones for communicating on set has been one of the products that we really have enjoyed using, and we do take it on our bigger shoots since we have gotten our hands on some. Perhaps like you, we thought that it might not make that big a difference and it's a bit of a gimmick, but we thought that we'd bring them along just in case and because it would be cool in front of the client. However, once we put them on our heads, it was game over. We can't go back. It's so cool and convenient to just be able to talk on set quietly to different people in different rooms and stuff like that. It's literally been something that we've recommended people take on our shoots, and by the time they put it on their heads, they agree and they just want them from now on. So when Synco reached out to us asking if we could do a sponsored overview of their new headsets, we immediately said yes, because these look like they do a very similar thing to a lot of the other sets, but at almost half the price. It's a no-brainer for us to look at these. Now, because this video is sponsored, I do want to state that it's not technically a review. It's going to be more of an overview video, but we will give you our honest opinions anyways, and you can do with that information what you will. So the kit we have here today comes with a case, and inside the case we have one master headset and 4 slaves. You can tell which is which because the master has a red little icon on it and all of the slaves are blue. It is worth keeping in mind because you do need to use the master for all of the slaves to be able to connect, and you probably want to think about giving the master headset to the person who's going to be more central on set compared to everyone else. It's probably not a good idea to give the master to the guy who's doing a lot of the running and he's going to leave set and then everyone's going to disconnect all the time. We've been there. Dumb idea, don't do it. Inside the box, each headset comes in its own little baggie, and you get a little battery charger that can charge up to 6 batteries at a time. Battery life on these is really good, by the way. According to the specs, you can get up to 24 hours of runtime depending on which boost mode you're in. Each headset has a little door where the battery goes in on one ear side, and you can wear them either way. They're reversible. When the microphone is up, it is muted. When it is down, it is live. And that's common on most headsets. What isn't common, however, is that these headsets actually have an audio input, so you can monitor your camera while you're working, which is a nice feature. Other than that, we do have a power switch, a volume up and down, and it also has an A and B button so you can set up different groupings, which is cool to see. Now, in terms of physical differences compared to other units that we've tested, we have found that these feel a little bit cheaper in the hand. Now, obviously, we don't know how these are going to hold up long term, but we can say that all of these devices from the different brands are lightweight headsets that are going to be in a production environment, and we do anticipate that some of them might get thrown around a little bit. But for the price of these, being almost half the price of the competing brands, it's just a great value, especially considering that you get an additional headset in the box and the battery life is more than twice as long. Like with all of the other brands of this type of device, treat all of them with care and you should be okay. With that said, we have noticed that because these have these big antennas, the audio boom can get caught if you're opening and closing, which is a little bit annoying, but you do get used to. Speaking of the boom, we have found that it is quite long compared to a lot of the competitors, which is kind of nice, but it's not as rigid, which does mean that it can kind of flop around when you're walking, which is a little bit inconvenient. Now let's talk a little bit about actually using these devices. In terms of audio quality, like a lot of the other headsets, these do feature noise cancelling on the microphones, and it does seem to work pretty well. With that said, it will depend on the environment that you're in, how well that noise cancellation works. Another thing to keep in mind is that because these only have one cup, it may be better to have an earplug in your other ear to get the most out of that. In terms of the transmitted audio quality compared to the competition, we have noticed that these are quite similar. What isn't the same though is that these have quite a lot of delay. So if you're speaking to someone in the same room, it can be a little bit annoying, but you do get used to it. We do want to talk a little bit more about that boost mode. Boost mode essentially increases the range that these headsets work at. By default, it doesn't appear that it is on, it is in mode 1, and there are 3 modes that you can pick from. We have found that in mode 3, so the strongest mode, these were extremely comparable with the other headsets that we have from brands like Hollyland. So again, that is a really good performance, but I have to say that if I were using these long term, I would probably just stick them in mode 3 all of the time. And we do find it a little bit annoying that when you turn them on, it is not necessarily in the last mode that you used. So when you are using them, make sure you're putting them in the boost mode that you are looking for. In this case, let's say boost mode 3, the highest one, before you start work for the day. Now, this hasn't been an issue for us, but we do want to point out that if you are operating in that higher boost mode, we do anticipate that the battery life will probably be less. We haven't tested exactly how much less, but it is worth remembering. One quick thing that I want to add here, when it comes to kit expandability, and this is a note that we had for the other brands as well, we wish that you could have a walkie-talkie attachment that lets you use these headsets with a walkie-talkie and an earpiece, because on some sets, especially older first ADs we've found for some reason, prefer to use a walkie-talkie style earpiece instead of covering their ears with one of these. And we just think that it would be a really nice option to be able to have something like that in a kit like this. Okay, to wrap things up, we really do recommend these. We like them a lot. And although there might be some differences side by side with the other brands, for the price difference we think it's negligible. In fact, we've been lending these out to a shooter who has used the other set from us before, and they've not mentioned anything in terms of the differences. They just want them back so they can continue using them. If you like what you see here, we'll leave a link down below where you can check them out yourselves. Leave us a like and subscribe and a comment. We'll see you next time.